There is a girl that belongs to this song. She knows how to work it, the Patreon. She sends all that money away.
Welcome to the American Fork Podcast. We're a group of friends who record a podcast with the goal of fixing America, one conversation at a time.
Only one.
Just one.
No, at a time.
Right.
So one and then another one.
Yeah, we're focusing on the here and now.
But there's other things, like we argue sometimes, one racist comment at a time, sometimes.
Exactly.
We're not perfect. But,
you didn't know you were getting into racism, did you, Lucas?
Don't say who's here. It'll confuse the listener.
Yeah.
They have no idea what's happening right now. All they know is that I'm here talking.
All right.
Okay. So Phil, who's blabbing his mouth off, out of turn, mind you, is here. Hello, Phil.
Right here.
Say hello.
Hi. Hello.
That was really good, actually. Jake, say, what's up? Don't open a beer during the show, Jake.
My LaCroix.
Your LaCrax. Okay, Jake.
Hi.
Oh, thank goodness. Thought you were dead over there.
Mm-mm.
You're still alive. And then our very special guest is a friend of ours, Luke. Luke's a businessman, a friend, and proof that it is a small world after all.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a story about Luke that we'll tell
Disneyland?
later. No.
A secret story.
We wouldn't tell stories about Disneyland. That place is corrupt.
It's just the name of one of the rides.
All right, on to... Oh, no, let's do some housekeeping, Jake. Where can people find us?
Oh, well, we have a website, in case you didn't know. AmericanForked.com. Number one thing that we recommend the website for is so you can go to and see a list of all of our favorite and most listened to episodes. So you don't have to start at one and go all the way. Just get your feet wet there on the favorite episodes page.
Yeah, and just as a word of advice, do not listen to episode 1. It's the worst.
I think it's actually episode 2.
Oh, 2 is the worst?
Episode 1 will actually, the intro will tell you which ones you should listen to.
Oh, yeah.
We changed the intro to that one. So
by me saying don't listen to it, people probably are going to listen to it.
Oh, maybe.
yeah, so
definitely listen
don't send us money on Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, don't do that either.
Which we do also have a Patreon, patreon.com/AmericanForked. We've just started to post new content on there. We've put 2 custom songs, unique songs.
Isn't every
published
song custom?
by Phil. One of them is a tribute to our highest paying patron. And then the next one, most recently posted this week, was about Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
A parody of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
People, basically, we have been asked more than once from different people, like, Phil needs to release his music because Phil always puts the funny bumper music on everything. Well, now we are. So become a patron, and you can hear his music. Yeah,
and we're in the near future, we will be putting a soundtrack, right, of all the songs on there eventually.
Yeah, I think it'll come out gradually, but we're going to try, and now when we release music, we'll give you a little taste at the end of the episode, but the full track will be available on patreon.com/AmericanForked. That's right.
Also, same handle on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, at American Forked, where we post things, and follow us there. And you can call our voicemail line or text the voicemail line at 385-DAD-0-MUG and have an ongoing dialogue with us if you want via text message, or if you want to send us a voicemail that we could share on the show, or just advice, tips, whatever. Just call us there.
Sweet.
I like it.
Is the housekeeping kept?
It's kept. Floors are clean.
Want me a fluff pillow? All right, good. So, as tradition would require us to do, we start with some news from our hometown.
As required by the government.
Thank you. Form 1063. And we are going to do news from our dear old home of Utah County, because I couldn't find anything from American Fork.
Oh, come on, American Fork.
Sorry, guys. I know they need more weird things.
No prostitution
there.
or cops being beaten up.
No fingers found in cars, nothing like that. So, but what we do have is the new Provo Airport is set to open in May.
Okay.
Are you guys super psyched about that?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Where's it flying to, though? That's what I don't like.
So basically, I'll sum it up, and then if you have questions, I'll answer them because I'm an expert.
Okay, do that.
Not an expert. So basically, Allegiant Air is the only major company that flies in and out of Provo. I think they fly to like Phoenix and Los Angeles as their main.
And that's about
things.
it?
Yeah, pretty much. But they dumped, Provo City dumped $55 million into the airport to build a new terminal that has like an actual luggage, like carousel, and a terminal that has a family area and all this stuff, with the idea that they want to attract more airlines to set up shop there.
A metal detector maybe is among that
Yeah,
list
and
of things.
They have a dog. He's not a drug sniffing or bomb sniffing dog, but they do have a dog now.
Or real, but it's wax.
Or real.
Right. So the anyway.
But where's it flying? Is it flying to Vegas or
No,
not?
they're just
Phoenix.
The airports don't fly, Phil. The airports are on the ground, and the story's about an airport.
I get that.
Oh, okay.
But I always like people are like, why do you always? Because I go to Vegas a lot for work,
Right.
and then people are like, why don't you fly out of Provo? And there are no flights.
I don't know where Allegiant. Allegiant is the only one that's there now.
Oh.
So they're dumping money into the airport, hoping that more companies want to
Come
fly
and
out of Provo.
Okay,
If
I
you
get
build it, they will come.
Yeah.
I hope they do. Let's.
They
be
might
honest.
have a flight to Vegas, though.
Kind of like the Olympic Stadium in St. Lucia,
What
which
about
was never
that?
used for the Olympics.
Why? COVID?
It's like kind of third world country-ish there.
Oh, they built it.
They built a stadium hoping
to
that the
bid on
Olympics
the
would be like,
Olympics?
oh, look, there's this beautiful place, tropical, beautiful, gorgeous place. Let's have the Olympics there.
I see.
It didn't happen.
So, Phil, I'm going really far out of my way. I'm calling my travel agent right now
Oh, okay.
to see if they fly to Vegas, and I can't tell. So,
Travel agent's busy.
yep, I'm just getting a busy
That
signal.
means they don't.
But Allegiant is notorious for like, if you want to take a carry-on, they'll charge you. If you want like half an inch more legroom, they'll charge you. If you don't want to be by crying babies, they'll charge you. They just basically, it says they don't fly to Vegas. Sorry.
Oh,
You're
thanks a
gonna
lot.
have to drive. Okay. So Provo's getting their airport. That's awesome.
Bigger.
Bigger.
More gooder.
More good or better.
It is more gooder. Right?
Okay. That's right.
Okay.
On to the Utah news. So I called this one proof that even things that are free, some people just don't want. And the actual headline is, how did UTA's Free Fair February play out? Remember we talked about
Yes,
that?
we did. How I wonder. I've been curious to know.
Why it took them a month to get the information out, I don't know. I'm being a bit of a pessimist on this one, but basically they definitely had an increase in ridership. So during the week, it went up by 16%. That's Monday through Friday.
What did?
So basically in February,
Number of riders.
they had what they called Free Fair February
This is for UTA.
for
on
UTA.
Fridays.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
No, the whole month.
February. Oh, it's just Fridays.
Nope, the whole month. What they were doing is the reason they did it is because they were claiming that they're celebrating the anniversary of the Olympics being here, 20-year anniversary. Also February is notoriously a terrible month for pollution in Utah. So they tried to incentivize people to take mass transit during February to help with the air quality.
And I theorized it was because their accountant was on hiatus.
That's cool.
Right. So basically what we've got is during the week, so Monday through Friday, there was a 16% increase, which I looked at that and I was like, you didn't charge a dime and only 16% more people showed up. I'm not saying that's not an increase, but like if it was something really desirable.
You'd think it would be a lot more.
Right. Like if someone announced free steaks, like you'd probably run out of steaks.
Free
Yeah.
Big Macs?
Free Big Macs would be a good one. Thank you, Jake. Any other good examples?
Free T-shirts at PacSun?
I think that no, this is pretty specific. Yeah.
Free hair dye from Hot Topic?
All those things. Were you at the mall this week?
No.
Okay, this is where it gets a little more interesting. So there was a 58% increase on Saturdays. So that's where you saw a big increase.
Yeah, that's a jump.
That's crazy.
Phil just sat back down, pretending like he knows what's happening. And then 32% on Sundays. So they're calling this a success. I'm kind of going, you'd think like ridership would double if it was like super desired.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
In my opinion.
That's what I always say.
But what is this? How is it a success if they didn't charge people and their ridership still went up?
Like, these numbers would make sense if it was like discounted, but like you're saying that you didn't make any money this month and you only increased by 16%.
Maybe by success they mean more people chose public transit.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about the bottom line.
Yeah.
UTA is so great. They're so health conscious.
They really are.
And not racist or anything.
Well, Salt Lake City paid UTA to do this.
I'm sure
so
they
it wasn't
got money.
UTA didn't lose money.
Yeah, it's not like they had to furlough workers.
Right.
You know, the last time, no, that's a lie. I was going to say the last time I used UTA was when we rode that thing on the Olympics.
Oh, yeah. That was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, but I think I actually have ridden the train home from the airport a couple times.
Oh, all the way down to
Front Runner?
that place where you live?
The Front Runner?
Utah County-ish area.
That zone?
I think it's nice. Like, I took my son to the Jazz game, and we parked at the American Fork station and went right to the Delta Center and came, or the whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Where the basketball
Delta Center is what it's called.
What is it called now?
The Vivint Smart
Vivint
Home
Smart
Arena.
It's still the Vivint,
Yeah.
the company that steals from people.
Yeah.
The Summer Sales Solutions Arena.
Summer Solutions.
The post-mission job arena.
Yeah. A bunch of us worked for the reason why we're joking about that.
Me
You
too.
worked for him too?
Me too.
That's right.
Did you work for Vivint?
I worked for Vivint.
Oh,
No,
man.
I worked for Apex.
You did
I
work
was-
for Apex?
I was at
Yeah.
Apex like
What?
And
A
I
year
worked for
before.
APX.
That's right. I think when I went in, it was APX
that's what
transitioning to
people call it.
Apex.
no, it was the other way around.
Yeah.
They were APEX, Apex, but then they changed it to APX, claiming, I guess it was because there was a small home security company in California with the same name, and so they said, don't do that.
Yeah.
But that company was just a big dog at a guy's house, right?
Yeah, named Apex.
No, we say that because we had a friend, we won't say his name, but he would just lie to everybody. Like, he would make up the wildest stuff.
Like criminally.
Yeah, and he would sell alarms like you couldn't believe.
So I'm gonna pause and rewind because everyone got super excited all of a sudden just then. But this is actually why I wanted Luke to come on today, because it is a small world after all. Like, our lives have crisscrossed without even realizing that they're crisscrossing. And then one day we had a conversation and went, wow, we're crisscrossing. This is crazy. And it just happened again.
Daddy
you guys
Mac will
just
make you do it.
realized that he worked for the same company you guys did when you got home from your mission.
Yeah, well, and the other reason is, were you going to save that for later? Or?
Well, I was, but go for
well,
it.
I'll just say it right now, because Lucas and I were in the MTC together. We were batchmates. Is that what you call it?
Wait. Let's Tarantino this.
Tree of Life mates.
Let's
Yeah.
Tarantino this, because I called Luke and invited him to come on this podcast, okay?
Okay.
And going forward, and then we'll go backwards. That's Tarantino, right?
Yeah.
That's a thing. So I met Luke through a friend, and we were doing business together for what? Maybe almost a year?
Yeah,
or
something like
longer.
that.
So we knew each other. Luke's a good guy. And then all of a sudden, we get talking about, I think, the Philippines.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, one of my best friends went to the Philippines. And why would you even talk about that? It's such a big place. You know, there's so many missionaries that go there. If you were like 1 year older, you would have never known or heard of this person ever. But then I'm like, oh, yeah, my friend Phil. He's like, oh, what's his name? Phil Beep, because it's edited.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, you're friends with Phil Beep? And I'm like, yep. And like, anyways, so then you guys take it from here, Phil. You guys went on, well, I don't know what you were.
Well, yeah.
Your home slices?
We'll probably talk about it more later.
Yeah.
But anyway, we knew each other, and then you guys met together. So it is a small world.
Oh, sorry, man.
And it's even smaller because Luke's not from Utah.
Yeah, I'm from Ohio.
Yeah.
How weird is that?
He's from Ohio. And then Brian, who we had on last week, is a friend from way back, and he served in the same mission. Did you ever know Brian Bolter, an Elder Bolter?
Tiny hands.
so.
Yeah.
Little tiny hands.
Tiny hands, huh?
Tiny hands.
It's no
Probably
joke.
massive hands in the Philippines.
Yeah, they were big for over there.
Anyways, it is a small world after all.
Yeah.
All right. Quit spoiling the end of
What's
this show.
next on this news reel?
Quit spoiling
Okay,
the end of this show.
that was all you had planned for later, wasn't it?
Well, I have another Utah story moving along from the ridership from UTA. So this one I called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, the face tattooed bandit? There's a guy, there's a shooting in an Airbnb in Draper City. Did you guys hear about this?
Oh,
at all?
I did hear.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm conflating that with. Wasn't there a mass shooting in California?
Sacramento.
Again?
Yeah, I wasn't even planning on bringing that up because I
Oh.
didn't know much about it.
So no, I didn't hear about the West Valley.
So there's a big house party at an Airbnb basically in Draper City, which for people
it's
that not
Draper.
from the area, Draper's a bit of a nicer area, nicer neighborhood. I'm kind of surprised they even allow Airbnbs over there, but there's an Airbnb. They're having a big house party, and this guest that was not invited, he wasn't on the guest list, felt left out, felt teased, made fun of.
Bullied.
And he shot everyone.
He shot 2 people,
Oh.
and both of them have died.
Oh.
Jeez.
But the reason why I even brought this story up is because of the description that they are looking for this person.
White
So-
male, 5'10". Shoot.
No, it just says, as of Monday, no arrests have been made. Investigators looking for a Hispanic man with a stocky build who has tattoos on his face, including an 801 tattooed over his eyebrows.
Oh, really? Like, I'm from area code Utah, is what he's saying.
Twice over
Yeah.
his head.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Post Malone?
Or that one comedian from the Jai Bar. I don't know his name, but I'm just bringing this up, kids. If you're planning on shooting people at a party, don't get tattoos on your face. Like, if you're not planning on shooting people at a party, maybe face tattoos are okay.
Or
I
if,
don't know.
or if you get tattoos on your face, don't shoot anybody.
Right. You know what? Let's just jump straight to like
Don't
maybe
shoot
not
people?
shoot someone.
Let's maybe don't shoot people.
You know what? While we're there, just don't get tattoos on your face. This story's
Even of area codes.
Unless that tattoo is to make you look like someone else.
or eyebrows maybe.
Yeah.
Or it's like
To throw people off.
each of your kids as a tier.
No,
Oh.
probably not.
None of the above.
Those are
Those
murders,
none of the above.
right? If you have tiered, that means you killed somebody or something.
Oh, I thought it meant like your kids.
Pretty sure it
take
means
your
you've
life
killed
away
someone.
a little bit at a time.
Oh, that,
Your kids killed you?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's what they mean.
Oh, okay.
So anyways, if you see someone running around with a couple of 801 tattoos over his head, maybe report him.
oh,
Okay.
you said they're on his eyelids? So maybe he just doesn't blink?
People only can
That-
they can only spot him when he's sleeping.
So if you see a Hispanic person walking around like this, never blinking, that's probably the guy.
Isn't there a picture of him? Let's throw it up there on that thing.
No, they haven't caught him yet.
Oh, well then.
But if you did, I have a feeling if you Googled 801 tattoo on the face, you might find a
Utah
picture of him.
shooter 801 tattoo.
Duck, duck, goose.
It's gonna be all like memes and stuff.
Oh, it's just 47 pictures of
Botched tattoos.
yeah,
Yeah, I can't find it. This guy does have a lot of tattoos, but
yeah.
That's
Anyway.
probably him.
yeah.
There's a comedian that's out there on the Dry Bar. Are you familiar with the Dry Bar? Mm-hmm. In Provo, there is a comedy club called the Dry Bar because they do not serve alcohol, and their comedy is also clean. Like there's not any swearing, right? No swearing. And
I've seen several videos of comedians,
Yeah.
and they don't curse.
Where?
absolutely
At Dry Bar?
hilarious comedians. Dry Bar. It's like
Oh, it's a thing in Salt Lake.
It's a
Provo.
comedy
No, it's in
club.
Provo.
Oh,
In Salt
Provo?
Lake.
Yeah.
Yes, Provo.
And there's a few other locations, I think, in Arizona and a few places around. But the whole idea is it's clean comedy and no alcohol there. And it blows me away how funny those guys are. They're hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look him up. But there's a guy there that has tattoos all over his face. He's a very clean guy. He's actually from Utah. But he was joking. The last video I saw was he frequents a 7-Eleven place. And they nicknamed him the Mountain Dew guy. And he's like, you guys, you don't realize how much Mountain Dew you have to drink to not be called the throat tattoo guy. You have to drink a lot of Mountain Dew to not be called the face tattoo guy or something like that. Anyway, it's a
Well,
good
they called
thing.
him that because he ordered that a lot.
Because he got Mountain Dew all the
He
time.
bought it a lot.
Yeah. Thanks for explaining it, Jake.
I get it.
Because I didn't get it first. I was like, do tattoos guys or tattooed people represent? Anyway.
Mountain Dew, yes. Sponsored by Mountain Dew. On to the next story.
Remember Mountain Dew?
Oh my gosh. But we can agree that Baja Blast is a waste, right, guys?
I was
You on
just
board?
watching one of those YouTube videos that were like all your favorite drinks that were discontinued, like Fruitopia
Surge.
and
Sprite.
Pepsi.
Crystal Sprite or whatever.
there was like Pepsi Hot and Cold or
Pepsi,
something.
Pepsi Crystal. It's like clear Pepsi.
There was a clear Pepsi and Coke product in there somewhere. And there was another one called like Cactus Cooler. You remember those?
Oh, yeah.
I thought they
It was
still
Yellow
like
had
a
those.
pineapple drink, yeah. Anyway,
Jolt.
they didn't mention Jolt or Four Loko.
And Surge? They didn't mention
No.
Surge?
They didn't.
That was a big deal.
Was
You remember Taco Bell brought Surge back for all the stoners that were now
No,
adults?
I don't. But I did find out in this commercial that some of these drinks still exist. Like there's like I guess a handful of stores in California that carry Fruitopia.
I loved Fruitopia.
Yeah.
I thought I was making a wise decision for the future.
Yeah, it's probably just like pure syrup
Yeah.
and water.
I like that movie
What?
about the Fruitopia. Oh, that's Zootopia.
Moana?
Anyway, not to derail your
It's all right.
next exciting story.
It is kind of exciting.
I'm ready.
I'm interested to see what you guys think about this because we haven't talked about this for quite a long time. Man photographed, quote unquote, chugging wine in the U.S. Capitol on January 6th is sentenced to jail time.
Wait, a man photographed chugging wine.
Right?
At where?
At the U.S.
State-
Capitol
U.S.
Oh.
Capitol.
Like
on January 6th.
Oh, okay.
Right. So he was photographed chugging wine inside the Capitol
In the
rotunda,
Capitol.
Right.
So he broke in there.
He got sentenced.
Oh, okay.
To me, that's not a very interesting story.
Wait, how long?
Why?
Oh, 90 days.
Because he drunk.
90 days in prison.
Because he was
Still.
drinking wine on federal grounds.
No, here's what I'm saying is that story alone is not very interesting, but the information inside the story was what interested me more than anything.
Well, what is it?
That's what I was waiting for.
Here, well, you just be patient, son. So you guys know that like January 6th is mocked up to be this like massive insurrection, just overthrow the government, unbelievable, crazy, whatever, right? So it listed out a few people that have been sentenced. Let me see, I got to find this here. But like this guy, for example, was sentenced to 90 days in prison, which doesn't sound very serious to me. But this is one of the people that they've captured and sentenced, right?
Okay, but what is the thing you were going to say that was
Hold on,
exciting?
I'm finding it. You guys just entertain yourselves.
I'm
for a
like, are
minute.
you just saying words now while you scroll through your phone?
Turns out Donald Trump tweeted to this guy, slid into his DMs and said, hey, go drink wine in the state capitol on January 6th.
Oh, that's what it must have been.
Yeah.
Donald Trump and the wine drinker.
Well,
The Viking wine drinker.
you know, it's funny though. I saved this information, but I don't see it here.
Now you can't find it.
Yeah. So remember how I talked it all up?
Let's just make up what it was about.
I think that's true. I think Trump was like, give me my 96th Twitter follower. And he sent him a tweet saying,
Slid into his DMs.
I need you to get in there right away and make a scene. And so the guy took his bottle of wine in. Is that right?
Did you kill enough
Why
time?
don't you just tell us what it is?
Well, here I got it now.
Okay.
Don't worry. Don't you worry. Thanks for killing all that time. So then there's this guy who was convicted of stealing 2 microphones out of Nancy Pelosi's lectern. It's like a place where she speaks from.
Oh, yeah.
Sentenced to 10 days in jail.
For stealing microphones?
Yep.
Wow, I thought
That's
you'd
it?
get more than that. Those are probably expensive mics.
He should podcast with those mics.
Yeah, you probably could. Adam Johnson, not the Adam Johnson we know,
Oh,
who was photographed carrying the pulpit, basically the whatever it is called, was sentenced to 75 days in jail. Okay.
He took the main pulpit in there.
What's her name's pulpit? The Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, so they like ransacked her station or whatever.
But the thing that's interesting to me is these sentences: 90 days, 10 days, 75 days. These are hardened criminals, is what I'm pointing out, that need to be
dealt with,
doled out some justice. So this guy that was chugging the wine, he stole a football, which I'm not sure why there's a football in there. And he stole a book from someone's office, and he threw the football when he got outside. I don't know why. This is the pertinent data that's in this news story. When he got outside, he threw the football.
He went out to play catch.
Right.
So he didn't really throw it. He just like or steal it.
No, he just threw it at the crowd, supposedly. And then he sold the book for $40.
You know, maybe Trent is right, and I am like QAnon or whatever. I feel like if I was there, I would like be laughing my head off. Except at the time, I was pissed. I was like, "Why are these guys breaking in? Those jerks!" But it sounds like it was a good time.
It sounds like it was really fun. Yeah, you could just walk out with microphones. I mean,
free
for
mics, throw a football.
For 10 days,
there's wine, there's football.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do you need?
Everything.
Podcasting, apparently. The new
You can
microphones.
podcast while you're drinking the wine and throwing the football.
During an insurrection.
But my point of bringing that up was like these were the sentences they decided to cite. And
You're saying they're low sentences.
Yeah. The worst guy was 90 days for chugging wine.
Did these come as a result of the January 6th commission that was started to investigate
I think so.
that insurrection?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you don't
I
think
think
so?
these are prosecutions by like the Capitol Police or DC or something. Or they could be like federal prosecutions. I think that thing you're talking about is just like senators, right?
Trump. I thought it was
looking
to
into
investigate
Trump.
Trump's involvement.
Right.
I don't
So
know.
they wouldn't have any power to prosecute or anything like that, is my guess. I could be wrong.
Right.
No, you're right. They don't. But I didn't know if like information gathered from that commission resulted in these arrests.
No, I think it was pretty much like the police were like, well, let's look at the cameras.
It's been a pretty slow day. Let's look at the cameras from January 6th and see if we can nail somebody for
Yeah, probably pick
playing
up
football on the
20 or
grounds.
30 people.
I think these are probably people that potentially even got arrested the day of.
Oh, yeah,
And
maybe.
this is just their sentence now. You know, they've been tried and whatever. But my point was when I read this story is I was looking through trying to figure out like, I mean, insurrection on the U.S. government and like, you know, trying to overthrow the government, that's like life sentence, right?
So the last we talked
it's a big deal.
The last we talked about this, I wish Trent were here because he'd be happy.
That's funny because I'm glad he's not.
So we were arguing a few episodes back. Trent and I were arguing about whether or not this was an insurrection. I didn't think so. Trent thought it was. And
Right.
my argument was that nobody's been charged with insurrection. Like they've been charged with beating
Drinking
up an
wine.
officer, drinking wine apparently, but
stealing a
Stealing
microphone.
a book.
but there's an actual
Throwing a football.
There's an actual code in the law that there's insurrection and then there's also sedition. But anyway, apparently since then, a couple guys were charged with sedition, which is like trying to take over the government. I guess they planned some kind of thing and kind of ended up being there or
Was
something.
it the police officers that let them in the building?
It could have been those guys.
Okay, calm down. We're
But,
not going to get into this again, Jake.
But anyway, I haven't heard. I would assume if they had been found guilty, it would have been longer than 30 days. So maybe there are still to come some
I'm sure.
other cases. I don't know.
And sometimes longer. I mean, to give the other side of the story, I'm sure some stories, some sentences take longer to dole out. And if it's a more serious crime, I'm sure it takes a bit longer. You know, they're not going to try a murder thing in 90 days, you know, and sentence it out.
What's the statute of limitations for stealing a book?
I think like 3 days or 4. I don't have any idea
Well, it depends on if it was
what book it was.
was it Pelosi's personal property
1984?
or was it U.S. government property?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Crazy.
Doesn't matter.
Is there a
It
difference?
doesn't matter. I mean, I don't care, so therefore it doesn't matter.
Okay.
All right. I got some world news here, and it literally have one word typed into it.
Russia.
Ukraine. Yeah.
Oh,
You were
okay.
pretty close. Just over the border.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of development, and honestly, when I research world news to get out to this world view, that's all I can find is just Ukraine this, Ukraine that.
I think Putin deserves some credit for
Excuse me?
eliminating COVID.
Oh, for eliminating COVID. That's true.
Oh, because we don't hear about it anymore.
It's not a thing anymore. Yeah.
I was looking, and there still were quite a few people dying, apparently.
Did you mean there's
Like-
quite a few hospitals collecting money from the U.S. government
For
yeah,
saying that
maybe.
people
for
are
saying
dying
that people died from
COVID.
But I think last I checked, it was like, well, let's see, U.S.
Well, as of a couple of weeks ago, we were death-wise about equal to where we were when the pandemic started.
Oh. Did you see? Did I
So-
sound excited when I said that?
So right
Yeah, you
now,
sounded like you were really concerned.
Okay. Oh.
There you go. That's better.
so we just had, we're still sitting at like 20 to 30,000 cases a day, and deaths were down to like the 600 ish. It's been going down pretty steadily, but 500 or 600 is still like a lot higher than the flu.
Yeah, it's not a small deal. Like it's not.
But we don't
nothing.
hear about it at all. So thanks, Ukraine, for getting rid of that for us. Or not thanks, Ukraine. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Russia, right?
Someone has to be the victim.
Yeah, I get it. No, but what was going on recently with that? It's like Russia said they were going to make a deal, but then they kind of pulled out. But now they're like hammering hard again. Is that what you guys heard last?
They pulled out, and then they're hammering hard
that
again.
might have
Where's
gone
Trent?
wrong.
Words
Where's
you
Trent?
want? Those are the words you want to use.
Came out the wrong way, but they like
Also,
a lot of
what she said.
a lot of stuff's in like ruins over there, like
Oh,
rubble.
yeah.
Like
That's what I've heard.
that's what I've seen, at least what they're showing on the YouTube
Mass
clips.
graves.
Mass
There's some
graves.
city that apparently was just decimated, and the Russians left just dead bodies strewn out through the streets
I did
and stuff
see
like
some
that.
Bodies. I hate to say it, I wonder a little bit though, like, because again, like maybe those are dead bodies placed there by Russians, but I wonder about like the Ukraine propaganda side of it, like
Right.
if they're like trying to garner more support internationally and like, oh, here's these dead people, but maybe if we lay them around here, take
Yeah.
a picture, then I'm not
Let me-
saying I know that's what happened.
Let me clue in our guest, Luke. Basically, Phil's pro Putin, so just thought I'd sum that up for you real
I'm
quick.
squarely in
So,
the I hope Putin wins camp.
When we were in the early stages of this Russia-Ukraine thing, like within a week, you started to see a lot of videos on social media and YouTube of what seemed to me to be very fine-tuned, cinemagraphically artistic
Damn, those are some big words.
depictions of a war.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that looks like a video game, like with the anti-aircraft machine guns shooting down a plane and it crashing into the beach, and it just seemed so surreal to me.
Yeah.
And I have heard that there are some videos out there that are actually from like video games and movies
Yeah,
from years ago, and people are peddling them as
current videos.
as Russia-Ukraine war footage.
Well, the weird thing about it is too, like if you use a camera from like 2004 or whatever, like when we were in Iraq, cameras compared to now were horrible. And now on your iPhone, you have like an image stabilization, like 4K camera that gets really smooth video. So I can kind of see that we're seeing war in a way that like we probably couldn't have seen before. But I also see what you're saying, where it's like, yeah, this was like a perfect shot of this helicopter getting blown up and stuff. And maybe it's just because that's how it is. But and and that would be normal too if like a squad of guys were like, we're about to shoot this Russian helicopter down, let's film it. That would make
Right.
sense to me.
Let's take our
That's-
iPhone 13.
That's what I would do if Jeff was about to shoot. I'd be like, let me get that.
But what I think we can do here
Hold on a second.
today on this podcast is help educate the listener on how to identify fake videos.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to start, okay? So if it has the date in the corner stamped in, you know, like
It's
in a kind of
pre-nine-
fuzzy,
it's pre-2003.
VHS tracting lines across it, probably not Ukraine.
The
Oh,
date
I'm
is
just
probably
saying.
accurate.
Well, I mean, even if the date, it doesn't matter what they say because you know how those reset. But
You're saying it's not from Ukraine?
yeah,
Oh,
probably.
Okay.
Like if it look, you know what I mean?
If
If
it's,
there's
like,
a date
old.
in the corner of the video, like, does that make sense?
No, it
Okay.
didn't.
Well, you'll catch on in a minute.
Okay.
Another thing too is if it's if you have your life a bar of your life, like how much life you have left in the top right corner, or
Like how many hit XP
Or like
or
a-
hit points you've got
a
left.
zone map in the top left.
It's like the original
Okay.
Halo.
Usually
Yeah.
the likes are in the top right, but yeah.
That's not well. You know what I mean. Like if you have your life, how much life you have left on a video game.
And
That's
if all-
not going to be.
If all the soldiers look like Master Chief.
Or how
Yeah.
how many enemies there are left on the count.
Right.
Probably not real, you're saying.
That's not real.
Okay.
Correct. And those are the only two tips I have today. So if you see a life bar and if you see the date anywhere on the screen, it's probably not real.
No, but I was looking
That's
at. I was just scrolling through videos on Ukraine, and I pulled up one that was from like 2018, and it was like a Dateline or PBS or one of those. And it was talking about how the citizens in Crimea were dealing with the Russian occupation. And some of them were like, yeah, we love it. They're bringing all this infrastructure and stuff. And others were like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. It was a little bit surreal to watch because I kept watching it almost like it was current, but then thinking like, they don't know that there's a war coming or whatever. But it was interesting because the picture of like the Russian occupation wasn't, and here we go, I'm going to be more pro Putin,
Here we go.
but it wasn't painted in the way that it was now suddenly. Like at least back then they were more like, yeah, well a lot of people here actually want Russia to be here, which may or may not be true for Crimea and those eastern sections, but it's obviously not true that Ukraine wants them here. Like,
Yeah.
well, and I say Ukraine, I mean the rest of Ukraine, but apparently there were sections of Ukraine that were like those eastern sections, they were saying they voted, or maybe it was Crimea and those eastern sections, they voted 95% to be assimilated into Russia. Now, whether or not Russia came in and doctored up that voting, whatever, I don't
Yeah.
know, but
So basically, what you're saying is you're pro Will Smith.
pro Will Smith, exactly.
Okay.
No, and I'm not saying there's any justification for what Russia is doing, but I think there's a little more nuance to it than we're kind of getting in the.
Oh
So
yeah.
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that Putin regrets invading Ukraine?
It's an interesting question.
Yeah, I don't know if that guy's even with it or if he's just totally off his rocker, or maybe this really is.
Do you think it's keeping him up at night? Like, oh crap.
I don't.
I think, like, why did I pull the trigger on this?
You know,
I hope so.
yeah,
but-
I'd like to think that, but to hopefully answer your question, I think that I don't think he regrets it. I think he is a little surprised. Like the rest of the world. I think the rest of the world's going like, damn, Ukraine, you holding your own.
But maybe he's not even surprised because apparently they're saying they're worried that how the war is actually going isn't even getting back to Putin. That their guys are coming in and being like, yeah, we're winning every day. Like,
how do you know that, though?
That's the thing.
It's so much speculation.
Well, that's what they're saying. They keep saying all this stuff. It's like, yeah, how do you know? We don't know what they're telling them.
If you listen to my opinion, then it's fact. But how do you know any of the other stuff?
Yeah. I guess I
Because
should have just asked you.
Hunter Biden's emails.
Oh, we could ask Hunter.
Yeah.
He's on the board of. But
Burisma Holdings.
I think Putin Putin's probably surprised like the rest of the world of like, these guys are. I don't think that it was anticipated that there was a pride or what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word
that they actually like their country.
They have pride in their country.
Like
I think Putin
nationalism or patriotism. I guess
there's a certain amount of patriotism. I think that Putin probably had the idea of like, oh, those guys, like they still need us.
Yeah.
Like it's not a problem. It's like, when your Ukraine becomes a teenager, you're like, oh, crap. As a parent, you're kind of like, maybe I need to give him some freedoms and whatever. Or you can clash and go to war.
Well, it's like I keep comparing this to Mexico. It's kind of like if Tijuana voted 95% to join the U.S., we probably wouldn't be that surprised about that. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's totally off. But because they're right on the border. I mean, people travel across the border right there anyway and deal with that. So I would assume those people would be like, yeah, let's just be the U.S. Now, if we assume that, oh, Tijuana loves us, so let's just take over the whole country, they'll just open their arms and say, yeah, whatever.
Right.
Like, that's probably very unlikely. We'd probably hit a lot of resistance once we get down in there. I don't know, but...
I have so many dirty things to say right now about Tijuana, but I'm not going to.
I've never been. Is it nice?
Oh, I've never been either.
Oh, well, why would you even bring it up like that then? Like you're
because the things I've heard.
Oh,
believe you me, we don't want to talk about them. This is a family podcast.
Oh, I get it. I really like San Diego. Isn't that like bordering?
That's like northern Tijuana, basically.
That's how I understood it.
Better animal abuse laws.
Plumbing.
Oh, yeah.
Plumbing. Stuff
Better
like that.
plumbing. Yeah.
No,
we could probably do a list.
No, I miss those things though from the Philippines. So we'll talk about that.
What, you like the animal abuse laws there?
The plumbing.
Yeah, well, like cockfighting. Come on.
Okay.
Am I right?
Am I right, guys? Can I get everyone on my side? All right. You know what? Honestly, I regret even having to bring up Ukraine. I'm just going to close with saying this one thing, which is I'm a little concerned that in my own universe, in my own YouTube entertainment mind, like where it's like boom, 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 and then I lose interest. The war in Ukraine is just as intense as it was the day it started, but I'm starting to lose interest. And I don't know if that has a personal problem for me, but I have a feeling it's a societal problem.
It's a human problem.
It's not trending on Twitter, like that idea. You know what I mean? And I'm worried that even though it's still a real problem, are people going to lose track of it because it's not the hot topic?
Well, and that might be because the first, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks was like really dense as far as like activity. Like it was like Putin's gearing up. Oh, he's invading. Oh, they're fighting. Like it was all day after day, like a big new thing happening. So now that it's just like
the same thing.
Now we've settled into just war.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the topic has died out.
War.
Yeah.
Now it's just a meme. Or now it's just oh, you remember that? Yeah. That was 6 weeks ago. Oh, no. If you go to Ukraine, there's still families dying. There's still, the Russians are still, and I don't want to paint, there's Russians dying as well, which is not an okay thing. I'm just pointing out that in my own mindset and world, it's kind of dying out in popularity. And I feel like it's doing that with social media and other things too. And frankly, that's sad because I think that it's the same intensity from the beginning. Well,
it was like that with the Iraq war. I mean, I remember being like glued to the TV during shock and awe or whatever, like when we're going in, and then like 20 years later, I'm like, oh, they're still in war, I guess.
Then it's like shock and nah.
Yeah.
Like, nah. Well,
shocking,
And I've heard the same thing with like the Amazon rainforest. There's a big push of like, save the rainforest. Apparently it's worse than ever right now. But like the save the rainforest thing is like gone.
They're cutting that forest down. Like, have you seen those things? Like, I can't remember.
I mean,
I'm
going
to say a wrong number, but it was like millions of acres a week, or I can't remember. Maybe thousands. I don't know. It was like they're pretty much out there just like clearing forests like crazy, all for their beef farms, pretty much.
Wow.
So, and
is that why Bill Gates wants everyone to be on synthetic beef?
No, maybe.
Or at least plant-based beef.
So if you went to Texas Roadhouse this week, then you
cut down
cutting down rainforests. so-
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not just any tree, but it's like the most beautiful hardwood, and they're probably chipping it up for paper or something.
Yeah.
But up here, it's really expensive.
Yeah.
Or for Putin's money.
I'm going to watch Fern Gully now.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that for a while.
An Avatar.
No, I feel like there was some bigger development on Russia that we're missing, but maybe not. Maybe it is just boring
I mean,
now.
Elon Musk did not get a reply back on his one-on-one to the death match, I think, from Putin.
Oh, yeah. That's
But-
too bad.
Oh, well.
I
he's
wonder.
busy buying Twitter.
Oh, yeah, he bought Twitter.
He owns
Or
10% of their
He's on the
stock.
board now.
He owns
Elon
more,
Musk is on the
he owns
board.
more than the owner of Twitter, the CEO, not Jack Dorsey, the new guy, or maybe more than Jack Dorsey did. He was the CEO of Twitter before.
Yeah, he owns like 9.7% or
Yeah.
something like that.
Although I would have liked to see if Putin responded back, like, hey, I'll meet you in Egypt, Cairo, between the pyramids.
At the top of each. You start at the top of one.
March 25th, blah, 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 and see what Elon would say then, like, if he would really throw down.
I don't know.
I wouldn't picture Elon Musk much of a fighter.
He'd be on stilts.
I picture Elon Musk, if he was a superhero, he'd be like Batman. Like, he'd
Yeah.
have the gadgets. He'd have some, skills, but that's not what saved him. It was the gadgets.
Yeah,
The car, the motorcycle that shot out the nose of the car,
yeah.
the smoke bombs.
He'd probably
grappling
have
hook.
gadgets, and then Putin would have, like, weapons-grade viruses all over his gloves or something.
Yeah. I also think that Putin is like the opposite of Snow White. Like, all the evil, bad animals would just follow him. Like, there'd be like bears and cougars.
All right, Jeff, let's get serious about this podcast.
Listen, this is my podcast. We're actually going to talk about Putin for another 33
Welcome
minutes.
to the
Okay.
Tangent Podcast.
There you go.
All right. Well, listen, on to the most important topic of the night, which is our friend Luke.
What's up,
my.
Luke?
We kind of
Make me blush.
Tarantino'd this and kind of said why Luke's here. Luke has invaded our lives in different ways that we're totally disrelated, that somehow now on this podcast it all becomes related.
I'm like COVID.
All of a sudden it's about everything.
Wait. Let me get my quarter out here for the COVID jar.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, there
thank
we
you.
go.
That's good. It's $5, by the way.
Yeah, for future guests, only fives.
Yep, only $5 bills.
No, quarters are good.
Or lottery tickets.
So, in chronological sequence, Phil met Luke first.
Yeah, and let
Right?
me just tell you the context and how we met. Like, we were a batch. Was it called? Were we a batch? Is that what you called that group? We were in the
Yeah.
MTC.
District?
Batch.
Or a district.
They were
Maybe that was
districts.
it.
Yeah.
No, because we shared a district, I think, with other batches. I think the batch was like just who you're in the
Yeah,
room
your
with every day.
batchmates. Yeah.
Like,
Okay. I don't remember.
You didn't have that?
Explain it like you have no idea, because
So when
there's
you-
many listeners that have no idea.
When you serve a mission for the LDS Church,
When mom and dad love each other very much.
your mom and dad love each other, and then
Gives a
19,
special kiss.
19 years and 9 months later, you go on a mission, and they send you to the Missionary Training Center, and we went to the one in Provo, but there's a bunch of them all over the world. And the Missionary Training Center for me was like the worst, like, because you're in a classroom with like
You're around
no
people.
window. Was there a window in our class?
No, it was like a 20 by 20, and you cram. How many people were?
I think there were
in our
10
batch?
guys, and there is 10 people in probably a room. Like, maybe it was maybe it was more square than this, but it's a real small.
Your guys'
yeah.
experience was terrible compared to mine.
Really?
It was like heaven.
Was it really?
Yeah, the room was bigger than this, and there were 6 of us.
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to. Oh, really?
Yeah, but we had the elders. Well, one of the dorm buildings that was dedicated to the sister missionaries was used by the elders,
Oh,
and so I guess it was different than.
yeah.
Anyway,
I think
continue
ours
your
was.
story.
I think ours was a basement classroom. And I don't want to speak
In
for
the
you.
basement
and
of a
you may have
pizzeria.
loved it, but I didn't like being down in this classroom all the time. But anyway, you're with this batch. It's kind of your class. And I think you do most activities together. Like you kind of go eat together. You have class together most of the day. You go to the gym together. Yeah, it's so that's the context that we met. So we weren't companions, but we were in this class all the time together.
You're in this gang.
Yeah,
This LDS gang.
We were in prison. I mean, there were literal bars and locations in this prison too. So
it was. I felt like I was in prison a lot of the time, and we obviously weren't. You could walk up and leave anytime. Which, do you remember that night where there was that guy like pacing in the hall, and he like looked out the window and like suddenly bolted out the door and jumped over the fence, and everyone's like, go, and the door to the car opens and the light comes on, and there's a young woman driving there, and he jumps over and gets in with her. Oh my gosh. It was like a jailbreak, whatever. Like
it was a jailbreak.
That's hilarious.
It was, and then the wardens came walking through trying to figure out what was going on.
Everyone calm down, get back in your cell.
Walks with a nightstick, ding, 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 hitting the bars.
That's exactly what it was.
You guys are painting an awesome picture.
Missions are great.
Yeah. No, it really was, but thinking of stuff like that, there were really good times. I think there were times where I was like, "This is awesome." Like we had fun, but it really is an environment of,
like all the rabies and stuff. It was great.
Yeah, the rabies.
But here's the thing: like from an outsider perspective, because I'm in total support of you guys going on missions and stuff, and I always was. But the bottom line is, you have a bunch of 19-year-old kids.
Yeah,
19 years old that
are called elders.
Called elders.
Yep.
that are going through
don't do that.
Not just a bunch of changes in their lives, but like taking on this responsibility of spreading the word and helping people on an eternal sense. Like that was like the goal at that time.
Yeah.
And it's a lot, but you're still 19-year-old kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the thing that a lot of people forget is, yes, they're admirable missionaries, but things like a jailbreak and everyone chanting them on and, equating things to be in jail is frankly just the humor of a 19-year-old kid is at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really is like, it's the age when naturally, as a young man, or I assume woman, it's like, I'm ready. I'm going out in the world. I'm going to have a good time. It's going to be a blast. I'm going to go crazy. But you kind of hit that at the same time that you're hitting this like most disciplined time of your life, at least for me, by far. Like where everything is scheduled out, like what time you wake up, exercise, what time you eat, go to class, everything. It's pretty much like what I would assume like a boarding school would be like, or where everything's very structured, like going to Hogwarts.
You go from playing Halo all night till 5 a.m. to waking, having that schedule.
Exactly.
It's crazy. Yeah. So let's rewind behind that though. Where are you from originally?
Dayton, Ohio.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
That's a big city, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty big city. Yeah, it's like just west, I should say, of Columbus, about an hour.
And is that compared to Salt Lake? It's a lot bigger, similar.
Salt Lake is just kind of this blob of people in the middle of the state, and
right.
Utah's like desolate the rest of the area.
That's true.
Like Ohio is kind of more spread out. Like we actually like to kind of like spread our arms a little bit as opposed to Salt Lake and Provo. Everybody kind of just wants to jam into these little quarter-acre little plots, and over there we've got more like 5, 10, 15, 20-acre lots.
So there's bigger,
just kind of bigger places. So. Yeah.
So, because I've heard of Dayton, but I've never been there. So, you grew up in Dayton, lived there. When was the first time you came to Utah?
Oh gosh, you remember Elder Wilhite?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
So I messaged him and I'm like, dude, I want to come out and see you. And he's like, all right, cool. So I found out that my buddy was dropping off a car in Idaho, so I just jumped in the car with him. Like it was like within 2 hours.
And how old were you at that time?
I was it was just post mission. So it was 21.
But you came to the missionary training
Oh,
center
yeah.
before then. That was the first time you came to Utah?
That's not like coming to Utah.
Yeah,
though.
that's kind of like stopping in the airport in some ways.
It really is.
I've been to San Diego,
You passed
but I
through
never really
Utah
saw
to get
it.
to the Provo MTC.
Yeah.
So here's a question. When you get picked up at the airport, do you get a shuttle from the missionary training center to get you to the MTC? Or is it like how? Like, I know it sounds silly, but like, is it literally like you land here when you fly in from out of state? Because every missionary I've ever known is from Utah. But when you're from out of state, you obviously come here.
You come there, yeah,
as your first endeavor.
Yeah. So usually you just spend the night in a hotel, and then whatever hotel's closest to the airport, and then you go over to the Provo MTC.
Okay, so that was the first time you came to Utah, then.
Yeah, first time.
Wow.
First time seeing mountains. And,
wow.
Actually the Rocky Mountains, because we have the Appalachian over back east. But,
so the first time seeing mountains.
Yeah, I mean, a couple hundred million year difference, I guess.
But I think what you're getting at too is like you're set apart as a missionary before you get there, but it wasn't like you're like locked down until you like met your companion, really. So you could like be on your own or whatever to travel there if you had to. A lot of people got dropped off or whatever, but
do you have a companion in the MTC then?
Yes. Yeah, so as soon as you get there, that's one of the first things they did, right?
This is your buddy.
You need to go to this room and you'll meet your companion, and then you'll never leave him and never leave any companion for the next 2 years was pretty much the gist.
You're going to be holding hands with someone for 2 years.
Yeah.
It's like getting a dog, like adopting a dog. It's like, okay, we're going to let him in now.
Yeah, dog.
Here he is. Hope you guys get along.
Close your eyes.
Give him this treat.
But so one really interesting thing, just because Luke is a batchmate, like we're in this environment where you're only dealing with these people all the time, so you become good friends, and then you go on the mission and you just don't see each other at all.
Yeah.
So then you have this whole other experience in this foreign country, like doing all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden, your batch gets back together to come home. Like, so you knew each other for a couple months, and then you go on this mission, and then all of a sudden you're all in the airport together, just having had this wild experience. So that was pretty surreal, like to see all these batchmates. Like,
everybody's skinny.
Yeah, everyone's way skinnier. Like they can speak
worms.
They can speak these other languages.
Yeah,
and
the worms.
Worms, all that.
It was about one out of every 10 people got a worm.
Did you?
Actually, amoeba. I did not.
You didn't get one? No.
Did you?
I didn't either, but I had several companions get some pretty gnarly stuff.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Yeah, I was like crazy careful because we were both in the Philippines. I was crazy careful about. They said like don't drink their local water, and try and stay away from like leafy greens and stuff like that. I was pretty like dead on that.
Did you eat any shrimp?
Oh yeah, I ate shrimp.
And
they told you not to.
They
right?
told you not to because of red tide. Yeah,
but and I would tell people that I can't have shrimp, but halfway through a meal, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's shrimp," or they're like, "No, it's not shrimp," but I'd be eating it and like, "This has got to be shrimp or something." Yeah,
it has a tail.
So exactly, but yeah.
So the most memorable experience about Phil.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right. It's his alarm clock.
Oh my God.
He would in the like butt crack morning in the morning, just like he'd put this alarm clock. It was the loudest possible alarm clock that he could find, and he would put it outside his door. And it would go off a half an hour before we're actually supposed to wake up because he wanted to exercise, but he never would. And then it would go, and it would just wake everybody up, and we're just like throwing stuff at it, and it was just I think we actually stole it from you a few times. Like
I think that's true. And what's so funny about that is we were in the same room together. He was like down the hall or something.
And I could still hear this. I could still hear this
at a distance.
Everyone on my whole so I went and got like a wind up alarm clock.
Right.
Because I was like, that looks
It's got
cool.
the bells.
And everybody hated it, and I did set it a little early. And the reason I set it out of the door is because like if you're smart, you probably work up to your mission as far as like a sleep schedule. But I was up, like you were saying, until like 3-4 in the morning, like just days before I went in there. So
Playing Halo.
I had to like set that thing outside to like get me up and get me going.
You had to acclimate from
Yeah.
day one.
Exactly, and it was rough, but it doesn't take long, a couple days, and
Sounds like
can
classic
get up.
Phil, though, doing something that seemingly is for himself, but interferes with everyone else's life.
exactly. That's
Now,
exactly what I did.
Were you part of the group that? And I'm trying to remember if you were part of it. There was a room that was dedicated to extra mattresses and pillows.
I don't think so.
You weren't there when we broke into that, and we were just having big pillow fights in there.
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
It's
Such
not.
the MTC.
It wasn't a room people stayed in, but it was like a room.
It's just like
Storage.
an extra storage room, yeah. And we found a way to lift up the tiles in the ceiling and just kind of like work our way into it.
Yeah. Yep.
Got a drop ceiling.
There's the drop ceiling, yeah. Did you stash anything in the ceiling?
Yep.
Phil did.
I stashed notes to not you. You were already
No,
gone.
It was.
I sent one to Beagle though, and he got it. I actually sent one to like my first unborn son, and somebody found it and like made a fake Facebook account in that whatever. They're like, hey, Daddy, thanks for this note in the MTC.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
back when Facebook was first a thing, and I was like, oh, that
It wasn't
was a dumb
MySpace?
idea. No, I think it was Facebook by that. I think Facebook was just starting by the time we got out of there. But
That's funny.
But another thing I was going to bring up was fireworks. Ingebretson, you remember that?
Oh.
Brought bottle rockets that he'd light and throw out in the hallway, and they would
Just for fun?
shoot around. Yeah, you're going crazy in there, Jeff. It's like
Oh,
you-
we
you
did
gotta
that in
get out
my
of there.
bedroom
Yeah,
when we weren't locked up.
That's right.
So I understand completely.
that's right.
Not that crazy.
No, but other than all this wild stuff, you were in class, I can't remember, 10, 12 hours a day or more.
It was like 2 or 3 spurts, like three or 4 times a day.
Yeah, and most of it was language for us because we were learning another language. Jake, I think, was in there even longer than
11,
us.
11 weeks.
Yeah, I think we were 9. Was that how long we were? 9 weeks?
Mm-hmm. 9 weeks, 9 long weeks.
Yeah, it was long. It was so long that I was like cheering getting on the bus, and I was like, I'll never go in this building or on this lot again, ever. And I haven't. And I live right by it and drive by it all the time.
I mean, you drive right by it sometimes.
Oh, yeah, because I live in this state somewhere. But yeah, it was crazy.
The worst was when somebody ripped one in those classrooms too.
Oh, no
Oh, my
windows, the
gosh.
doors closed.
And it's right.
And-
It's like right. You got breakfast, class, lunch, class, dinner,
Yeah.
class, and go home. Go back
Yeah.
to your dorm. And so
Yeah.
it's like eat a meal full of fiber and then sit in a class for 3 hours.
With many
Phil.
many gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Many gentlemen.
And we had teachers that they felt bad for us, so they would take us out like walking sometimes, and that was like, I guess if I imagine being a prisoner and they're like, we're gonna let you guys like go to the park today and walk around, like that's kind of what that feels like, because they're like,
You're gonna get some yard time.
yeah, even though it's not like we never went outside. I think we had to go outside to get between buildings, but it felt like you were always inside, didn't it? I mean,
Majority of the time, I'm sure it would. Yeah. Like if you have an office job and you go to work and you go inside and you work all day inside, it may feel like you'd never go outside,
yeah.
but you probably do.
Yeah, but and we did have a teacher that snuck us burritos in that one time. You remember that?
That was a pretty good day.
You realize that's a massive prank. He's giving you all burritos and you're all stuck in a room.
Right, exactly.
It's like a 10 by 10.
Yeah. What was that guy's name?
Elder.
He looked just
Brother.
like Life with Louie.
Yeah,
That guy.
I know who
Louis
you're
Anderson?
talking about.
I can't remember what his name was though.
It looked like Louis Anderson.
He looked like exactly like him. Like a younger version, I thought. But anyway,
I don't think anyone else cares but you.
yeah,
So-
I'm just like all these memories are flooding back. When
Okay, so you guys
I think about
trained.
Luke.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I totally
Oh
interrupted.
yeah, he was the guy that with a dad that had a Rolex shop.
Oh, that's right, and he had
That's
a
right.
nice watch.
Yeah.
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 I don't know why I can't think of his name.
This is a really long
Patrick or
introduction
Wilson
to
or
Luke.
something. Oh yeah,
Is this-
this is Luke, by the way.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is so, Luke, you guys trained together in the missionary training center, and then you went on your mission. It sounds like you guys didn't really come across each other much, or at all.
Not too much. I think that you were my zone leader, if I recall.
Oh, was
yeah,
I?
mission conference and zone conferences. You'll
Were you were in San Carlos, right? Oh, you were not?
I was
You were in Iloilo City.
Hilo in the end.
That's right.
Yeah, where did you serve over there?
Let's see. I served in Mansalingan, but I was a lot in Bacolod.
Oh yeah. See, I was on Panay the first like 2/3, I would say. So yeah, maybe we didn't run into each other much. If we did, it would have been a zone meeting or conference or
Something like that.
I can't remember.
I think it might have been like I know that we did a mission. Didn't we do mission? Were they called mission conferences?
yeah mission wide. Usually like every year, I think.
Oh yeah.
So
maybe.
that might have been where we saw each other. Actually,
Yeah.
that might be what I'm thinking about.
I'm sure we ran into each other, but it's brief. Like even if you see each other
It's
on
just
those
so-
type of days, it's like you've got this meeting. You can say hi to everyone for 20 minutes because you got to go do shopping and all this crap
Right,
before you got to
yeah.
go get home. So yeah, you didn't see each other much or talk to each other
It's
unless.
usually when we got our worm pill too, if I recall. So.
Did you get a worm pill?
Yeah.
I never got a worm
You
pill.
never got a worm pill?
Uh-uh.
They'd usually feed us KFC, which was like, going out to the roof around
Lakai.
here,
Yeah.
Yeah. It was extremely good food.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Or make us enchiladas. It was homemade.
I don't think I ever got a
Sister
worm
bit
pill.
off.
Oh yeah, those are great.
They didn't.
You
give
never got
one
a
on
worm. You were
purpose.
supposed to get them like every 6 months.
Yeah, I don't know. My wife thinks that's what this all is like worms from the Philippines.
No, the
from
worms
20
eat.
years ago.
The worms eat all that.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably true.
So, what is your classic go-to? People ask for a story. Like, what do people enjoy hearing as far as a story from the Philippines? We've heard all of Phil's boring stories.
No,
So,
probably.
Well, let's see. A lot of people want to hear about the food. A lot of people want to hear. I was walking along and we were actually just by this intersection, and there was a jeepney that just slammed into another jeepney. And
What's a jeepney?
A jeepney is a modified World War II vehicle. It's like a modified World War II Jeep.
It's
that is converted into a bus, and they've got like
It's like a stretch Jeep. Pretty
yeah, it's
much.
like a stretch Jeep,
Yeah.
and it looks like they played bumper cars with each other for a long time too, and they
Yeah.
kept hammering out these dings in it, and they look like they've been in like they really do look like they've
Been in war.
Been in
a
battle,
war,
yeah.
or like Demolition Derby. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
And they drive like it too.
wow.
They do, yeah. They're very aggressive drivers, but those things just keep running. So
So one day you saw one.
So yeah, I went ahead and saw one. It was driving, and and these things have bars on the outside of them, so that you don't have to just ride inside of it. They put bars on it, so you can actually put one foot on and one hand on this bar, and you can
Right.
hang on the jeepney. And I think they give you a discounted price if you're willing to hang on it.
Hey,
And so this guy, he shouldn't have got the discounted price because he got slammed into by another jeepney, and he ended up squished. So yeah.
squish squash. I was
Squish
taking
squash.
a breath.
Yep.
And you saw that.
I saw that. I saw somebody die in front of my eyes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So-
Until that part, I thought maybe UTA should take note and charge less money
for people
for
you can
bars.
hang out the side.
So
Yeah.
this is what a jeepney looks like.
Oh my god!
Like
Yeah, I've seen those.
Like some of them are like
That looks like an actual school bus.
really doctored up. Like these ones are obviously not like
Mercedes.
yeah,
used every day, like the ones he's talking about. But
right.
they're like, and this back section in there, like we're talking 20 to 30 people squished in there, like no problem. And then people like hanging off the back and stuff. I'll bet I can find one with like.
When you say these pictures you're showing us are doctored.
This is like typical. So I rode on top with these people a bunch of times, hanging off the back. Like we're talking like, I don't know, 40 people in this like large suburban. Like,
I mean, if I had to explain this to, I know you usually explain the pictures, Phil, but I'll explain this one. I mean, it's a pretty colorful thing, but it looks like a small bus from like the 30s with the big hood out front.
Yeah.
So it's not a giant bus. It looks like the ones that the special ed kids would take into school. Maybe that size or smaller.
It's a short bus. Yeah.
Thank you. That was the word I was looking for without offending 17% of our listeners.
A short bus.
That many?
I try not to use bad words. Oh, there's all kinds of pictures in this one.
Yeah, and this is like a good picture of like just like traffic over there.
So they do all the artwork on theirs. They have like the driver's got his own.
Yeah. And they
paint jobs and stuff.
So they usually there's their own little touch of flair, and they have jeepney lines. So each of these guys will have all of their jeepneys painted green. That way the customers know to go for that one if they like that jeepney line. And they go on very scheduled trips around here, and around in a specific area.
Wow.
And yeah, they're incredible.
These things look dope, though. Like I think we should have some here.
The crazy thing about it is it's like pitch black smoke coming out of the tailpipe. There's like no emission whatsoever.
Of course not.
So the cities are so smoggy, and they drive these things like they stole them. They're like flying around people. Like, in fact, I ran across the clip of 2 Philippine buses driving, and it had like a GoPro right behind the driver, and my wife was watching it with me, and she's just like grabbing my arm the whole time because this guy is just flying down this tiny road, swerving around people, oncoming traffic, and it wasn't like you may have done that once in your life where you're like, well, I pushed that too hard. They're
you
doing
still
this
remember it for your whole life.
Every day.
They're doing seconds. This every 20 seconds. Yeah, just like crazy. Boom, boom, boom. Like if you paid attention to what was going on, you were just like gripping the seat. But you got used to it to the point where you're just like hanging off the side, whee, and they're just swerving around. Like it's crazy.
It sounds fun.
It is fun, but
I'll tell you what's the worst about that is when this really pretty girl. There was one time that a really pretty Filipina got on a dalaga. Yeah. She got on the jeepney, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh," like, "Oh," even as a missionary, we're like, "Oh crap, I gotta look down here."
Yeah.
And then at the end of it,
cover my eyes.
At the end of it, you hear Lugar Long. This male voice comes out, and you're just like, "Oh no!" I got fooled.
I've got a good story about that one. So we went to this hairdresser or whatever, and I kept looking at her, and
the hairdresser or someone there.
The hairdresser, and I finally was like, that is a dude. And at the end of the haircut, I'm like, can I get a picture with you? And he's like, sure. And I take a picture and I send it home to a buddy of ours, or I send it home to everyone. But I'm like, look at how cute this girl is. And my buddy chimes back something to the effect of, oh yeah, she's pretty cute or something. And I was like, bah!
It's a dude.
Yeah, it's a dude. Anyway.
I've noticed that like Thailand and Philippines and these places, they were kind of onto this crossing different gender thing before it was popular, right?
Yeah, in fact, in the Philippines,
they're a lot better than Americans too.
Yeah. In the Philippines, parents will actually dress their sons up as girls at a very early age.
Yeah,
because they want them to be gay and they want them to go to nursing school. So it's and they want them to be femi, and they want them to be, without offending too many people out there on your podcast. It's just
them to be feminine.
It's just the mentality of it. Yeah. They want girls because they want them to go to nursing school so that then they'll go abroad and then bring in money to the family that they can survive off of later in life.
What do the men do? I mean, I've heard that before, that the women typically are
jeepneys.
nurses. The men drive jeepneys.
So in my experience, men were either like farmers and working, or a lot of them
Alcoholics?
did nothing. Yeah, they drank a lot and sat
You usually have
around
to
a
start
lot.
drinking tuba around 4 o'clock because the alcohol content's so low in this
Tuba?
fermented coconut juice.
So it's like you know how they pull syrup out of a maple tree? They would pull syrup out of a coconut tree, and it ferments, and that's like the beer of the country, pretty much. It's like this stuff, and it was strongly, like, you could smell that stuff all over. But
They call it tuba.
tuba, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, they had all these people that were, and I don't know if they were actually transgender or they were cross dressers or how that all worked, but men and women over there are very similar stature and size.
Right.
Like, so there would be quite a few times where you'd be like,
They could pull it off. Pretty
yeah,
easily.
they could pull it off. I guess was the
They're efficiently sized.
efficiently sized for crossing over, or realizing their true potential.
Oh, that's right.
Is that how
Affirming
it
their
is?
gender.
They're of
Affirming
transition-friendly size.
Exactly.
Got it.
So
Wow.
Gender affirming.
How many Filipino
Yeah.
companions did you have?
I think I had, let's see, my first companion had 1, 2, 3, 4, I think. Yeah.
Thanks for counting.
You're
It
welcome.
was nice.
4?
I had 4. How many did you have?
See, I had about 6.
6.
Yeah, I think
Did-
I counted right before I
Did
got
you
here.
get along with them pretty well?
It was difficult at first for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't used to how close they would stand to you.
Oh, yeah.
They were, like I grew up in Ohio and in the sticks, or
Yeah, you talk to that guy on his
And
horse.
you're
right
like
over
5
there.
acres to yourself.
Yeah, you're like, I want my space. And Filipinos, they're like, they'll like touch arm, like touch bicep, and that's
Or put their
that's
hand
how
on
you
your
walk.
inner thigh.
That's how you walk on the yeah. I mean, they're just so close to each other, and
Yeah.
that boundary space is not there with Filipinos.
Yeah, it's a very touchy-feely like culture. So
Right.
someone you never met could sit next to you in church and put their hand on your leg
Yep.
or something, or hold your
And
hand.
it's just
It was
normal.
like, yeah.
And I had to get used to that. That was something I was not used to at all.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, give me my space at
Yeah.
first. And then at the end of it, I'm like, okay, whatever.
Okay, so
Interesting.
So we get to the Philippines. We're in the mission president's house or whatever, and he sends us off with other people. And you stayed on Negros, I guess.
Careful.
But you're out. But you're out. Riding in a Jeep or however you got to wherever you're going. Like, what's going through your mind, like as you're like seeing the Philippines for the first time?
Like I'm just seeing all this open land, and I'm wondering where the heck I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm just like what am I supposed to do out here? I was freaking out my first night. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think I heard somebody having sex. Like there was like, and that made it even worse. I heard like just moaning and everything like that. I'm just like, what the crap is going on?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? Is this how it's going to be like every day? And I never heard it again. But
Was your
there's that.
first apartment pretty nice, or?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was really nice. Yeah.
For Filipino standards, it was nice.
Yeah,
right?
I think I'd only find like 10 cockroaches turned upside down on the floor every
Yeah.
morning
If
in
that
one.
if that
So-
place was
Only
in
10? Okay.
in Salt Lake City, Utah, how nice is it now?
Oh,
Is it a dump?
oh yeah, that's
terrible?
That's pretty dumpy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just-
I mean, it is literal third world country.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
But you guys
pretty-
lived like kings when you were there, as far as
compared to everybody
as,
else. Yes,
Yeah.
everybody else is like their apartment, their houses are made out of whatever they could find on the beach, like pieces of scrap metal and bamboo,
Mm-hmm.
just like staggered here and there. So
Yeah.
it's literally a stiff wind will blow over their house over there like a house of cards.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
but ours was more like
an actual structure.
concrete.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we usually had concrete houses that we stayed in with like bars in the windows and stuff like that. So we were pretty safe.
We could never escape the bar thing.
Yeah.
You know, after the MTC, it was just getting transferred to another prison. So.
Yeah, except instead of just bars, you then had like a brick fence around the house with crushed glass on the top of it.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
The crushed glass was a big thing around there. It was a center block fence and then crushed glass on the top so that nobody would climb over.
Yeah.
Built into the wall so that shards are pointing up, right?
Yeah.
Is that really it?
Yeah, so no one can get
Yeah,
over.
they just, as they pour that top concrete, they just stick it in the concrete up
They
there.
did that in Korea. That was popular too.
They do that in East LA too. I think it's pretty popular there.
Off the side of the freeway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but I remember like that first ride to wherever I was going, I was just like, I don't know if it's culture shock or what, but I just could not compute what was going on. Like just driving by like all these huts and people out in the street pooping and like just like it was like so different. It might as well be another planet.
Yeah.
I feel like, but
you don't know what everybody else is saying on the bus.
yeah, we have no idea what they're saying.
Your companion is there, but who knows if he knows English?
Yeah.
Was your first companion Filipino?
He was, but I didn't meet him until I got to the area, I think. I traveled with someone else to there, and I can't remember if I could communicate with them or not. I remember being super sick because I got really car sick, and the way they drive and the heat and everything was just like, I was just like, please don't throw up before I get there.
Right.
Which amazingly like went away after a few months, I would say. So
Came back.
I got used to it, I guess. And then it did
Now
come
you have
back
it again.
like years and years after my mission. I started getting car sick again, but don't know.
Did you have an issue with like the roaches?
no, I had an issue with spiders though.
Oh,
like,
spiders.
I don't really anymore, but when I was younger, I feel like my hairs on my neck would prick up if I saw a spider on the wall or something. So when they suddenly were the size of your hand, like running across the ceiling, like that did not sit well with me. In fact, I remember being in a lesson with some members, and like two of those, they're called huntsman spiders. We got to pull this one up because you guys got to.
John Huntsman.
Yeah.
Did they actually say Huntsman?
Did they cure
Spider.
cancer?
Philippines.
So while he's pulling this up,
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of explain to you some of these spiders. So there would be kids over there that would carry matchboxes, and these matchboxes would be partitioned off with toothpicks, and they would reinforce these matchboxes, and then there would be spiders in there. So they would catch them in the forest,
Right.
and these were fighting spiders. And
Yeah.
then
Spider fighting.
They would dig them out, and then they would let them fight each other on this shish kebab stick.
So this is probably an average like 4-inch piece of crown molding.
Right.
It's like 8 inches at least.
Yeah, the leg span
10-inch leg span.
is like the size of your dinner plate. The body itself is relatively small, but they're harmless.
I'm sorry, did you say relatively small?
Well,
Because I'm not sure that's the word I would use.
yeah.
No, these are different. Yeah, are these banana spiders or what are these? I don't even know that they
so
were.
the real name is apparently Huntsman
John
spiders.
Huntsman.
Oh, okay.
But I think they called them banana spiders or whatever over there. But
Will they bite you?
They could, but you'd see kids playing with them and handling them a lot.
These little kids that were like 5 years old, they'd let them crawl all over them. They're like, it's so funny.
It's like playing with this, garter snake or
Yeah.
something.
and then they just pull one of its legs off and like keep playing with it.
watch it twitch.
Yeah.
Like I used to do with Daddy Longlegs.
But they apparently can bite, and it's not fun. But I guess it's just very rare.
I wouldn't
But,
categorize it as fun.
Oh.
They're
I
they're-
remember seeing one of the fighting spiders eating one of these big spiders too. Like this little spider the size of a $50 was eating this massive spider the size of like a saucer.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
My brother served in the same mission,
Oh,
and he
that's
would
right.
send pictures home of, geckos on the wall, and then a spider that's twice the size, and he'd be like, "Yeah, that spider ate that gecko."
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, they're
fierce.
crazy big, and you'd see them eat lizards and stuff.
There's a matchbox that you were talking about.
the matchbox.
Yeah, so that's
so
yeah,
crazy.
that's his like fighting stick.
These are like Pokemon cards
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the Filipino
And
kids.
whoever won got to eat the other spider.
Yeah.
And they would actually stick the spider in their matchbox and let them eat it. So
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
The winner got to eat the spider.
Yep.
And people would like pay big money, like for these spiders. Like they would deal them like you would
A Pokemon
find
card.
ponies or something. Yeah, or
Yeah.
a Pokemon card.
They'd
Wow.
feed them milk. I mean, they'd put like a little droplet of milk, and like it was
Look at
insane how they
this.
did this.
Nothing like
Yep.
cow
Wow.
protein for
Yeah.
a spider.
And they
This
go
is
to sleep.
crazy.
The second that you shut them in there, they go to sleep.
They like hibernate almost.
Like you can literally like stick it in there real quick and then shut the box, and it'll pull its legs in, and then you open it up like a second later, and it's asleep.
yeah,
It was the weirdest thing ever.
yeah, it was crazy. And cockfights were crazy.
Yeah,
like,
cockfights.
Did you see a lot of them?
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
always joked around. I'm like, do you guys have chicken after it, or
Yeah.
is this fried chicken night?
tougher
or-
meat.
Exactly. I saw them happening all the time, but like toward the end of my mission, I'm like, I'm gonna see what this is about. So like, I'm like, let's stop and watch little junior companion that has to do what I say. And so we stopped and watched this thing, and it's just these two chickens, and all of a sudden they just went, and then the one fell over, cut in half, pretty much, and the
Yeah,
other
put-
one just like walked away.
they basically put razor blades on their legs.
They're
right?
like
spurs, yeah.
this long, like 6 inches long.
Yep.
And there's a guy that just sits there all day, like honing the edge of that blade until it like
Wow.
razor sharp. Like it's crazy, but.
It is crazy.
And I'm not saying crazy like, oh, that was so cool, because I was like, this is gonna be cool. And as soon as it happened, I was like, I feel bad that I
feel like
stopped
you have to
and
go
watched this.
repent for watching that.
Also, I guess you're saying that I should feel bad that I had some cocks. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I did have a monkey in my mission, though.
Oh, that's right. Didn't you
Yeah.
have a bunch of animals in one of your
I
apartments?
had a goat.
Maybe I was your zone leader, because I'm
Yeah.
remembering all this now.
I'm thinking maybe.
And didn't
I
someone-
bought the monkey from my neighbor. I bought it, and then I'm like, I don't want to take care of this thing, so I gave it to my neighbor, and I'm like, here, take this monkey, but I'm going to come over a lot and play with it. It's kind of like buying a dog for your neighbor,
Yeah.
and then never having to clean up the poop.
Right.
So, it's nice.
That's a good way to do it. I bought a pig from someone that we killed and ate
nice.
toward the end of my mission. But
Cool. Did you do a
That's
turkey
crazy.
for
Thanksgiving, yep, we did turkeys.
They had turkeys there?
Yeah, and each of us, like, they're not very big. So each of us in the district we were in or whatever bought our own turkey. And we some members came over and helped us cook them all in the backyard on a rotisserie. And now I look back on that, and those people were probably like, you guys need a turkey for each one of you? Like, when it probably would have fed like a whole family.
whole
of
village.
people. So,
Jeez.
but yeah, we would get turkeys and eat them. Some zone activities, we'd kill our own chickens and clean them and eat them. And
I always had an issue with eating with my Filipino companions.
oh, really?
Did you?
The issues would usually be like when we'd go to the mall, we'd go eat at Sparrow, which was, like you said, heaven. It was like gourmet food. And like Sparrow, the pizza place. Sbarro or whatever.
The pizza place. Yeah.
And I'd get done and be so satisfied, and my companion would be like, Elder, I need rice. I'm so hungry.
Oh, right.
Like, oh, really? Like, yeah, they just don't feel full without
Yeah.
eating the rice. So,
Well, the thing
That
for
was-
me was it was like a meal to some of my companion was rice, and then let's take the worst part of a pig, which is like the fatty skin, and let's just eat a grilled piece of fat.
yeah.
Not even any meat on it. It's just fat.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not going to eat that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. Let me go get some vegetables. So I'd always load up on vegetables, which I got really skinny off of. And
Yeah.
and they hated me for it. I'm just like, but you get so much more for your money. Like,
Yeah.
why would you want to buy this little chicken leg?
why
when
would
you
they
can have
hate
a
you
mountain
for
of
it?
vegetables? It's just
They just thought it was
I think it's
weird?
like a mentality thing. Like if they don't have meat, then they're
Or fat. Not necessarily
Yeah.
meat, but fat.
But yeah, just fat or meat, fat, chicken brains. Did you see that sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
So they would eat the head of the chicken, and it was like almost the same price as the chicken breast, which is weird.
Yeah.
But just some of the things that they would do to try and maximize. I wanted to maximize my dollar amount of my food.
Yeah.
And I usually did it on vegetables, and they were totally satisfied with this one little chicken leg, and I'm like, no. No, that's not going to happen.
I need a pile.
I need food. So that was.
Yeah, I actually got into eating just a can of 555 tuna.
Oh, you did?
And rice every day for like a year and a half, probably.
So
that's all I ate.
Yeah,
for
the
lunch.
555 tuna is kind of like a barbecue-y. I don't know. It's kind of like a mixture of barbecue and hot sauce or something.
They
like
had
that.
different flavors actually, but
Probably not dolphin safe.
yeah, when I got there the first day, I went and I'm like, what can I even cook or eat here? So I got like what looked like spaghetti sauce and what looked like spaghetti and tried to cook them. But the spaghetti sauce was like pretty much almost ketchup. It was so sugary.
So sugary.
And
Yeah.
and I was really depressed after that meal. And then I just started eating, because my companion was Filipino. I just started eating what he ate, and I
Got used
ended
to
up
it.
getting used to it, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just a lot of fish and rice and some meat and stuff. Anyway, we could talk about this all night, Jeff.
I know,
So-
and I'd love to do that, but I don't think the listener wants to listen to a 9-hour podcast.
About the Philippine
Well, no, I
missionaries.
think they would be fine. It's just no one has 9 hours in their day.
I
Joe
get it.
Rogan does.
That's true. And Joe Rogan's our guest next week. Not really, but but listen. As always, we end the podcast, and I go, "Man, we just scratched the surface on this." But I really do think it's such a funny story that you came into our lives, Luke, and in just such a small world way. From Ohio, you came in and met Phil. Years later, you met me, and then it's like, wait a second.
Did you even say how you met? Because I
think so.
You work in construction,
I've been
and Luke,
waiting
you
for
do
it.
your own gutter business. Is that right? So that's how you guys got connected.
Yeah, and
And
we
that-
knew each other for probably about a year.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, you know this guy? Yeah, I know this guy. Cool, let's go get a burger.
Yeah, it was a good burger too.
That was the best burger.
So
And then now you're on the podcast. So it was good talking to you, Luke.
It's good to be here.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. The other two of you, just kiss my ass. I
Yeah.
don't really want to hear anything about it.
I think we did fix America a little bit
Oh.
today, though.
Wait, I didn't ask. Did we fix it? No, we did fix America?
Well, I think at least maybe we've learned how good we have it here.
that is true.
Yeah, we've helped people in America realize that we've got it so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our Ubers are way better than the Jeepneys,
They really are. And our
Yes.
spiders are much smaller.
which is so awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, thank you guys so much.
yeah,
Have a good day, good night,
it's a good time.
good afternoon. I'm
So-
glad we fixed America.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 There is a girl that belongs to this song. She knows how to work it, the Patreon. She sends all that money away. You know it really, really makes my day. Say her name. Jennifer, Jennifer, Jennifer. What do you say? Jennifer, Jennifer, Jennifer. What do you?
Hear the rest of this music at patreon.com/AmericanFork.